everybody, and thank you for joining us for our monthly Horary Astrology chat with Gaia. Today, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. We're looking at the issue of COVID. So, of course, it's very pertinent to everybody everywhere this year. So, Gaia, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Kesenya. Thank you so much for inviting me once more, for having me here, and hopefully for a very interesting discussion.
I have no doubt it will be. But I also want to point out, Gaia, that you actually have your services on special at the moment. So if you would if you would like a question answered, a pinpointed question with a succinct arrowhead of an answer, then you should definitely jump over to the Guiding Star Astrology page. Go to the astrology readings page where Gaia has all her list there waiting for you of different options to have a reading with her. And the feedback I've been getting, Gaia, is sensational. Honestly, I am just so stoked at the responses that we've been getting from everybody who's had a reading with you so far. So brilliant. So yeah, we're going to be talking about COVID today. So I'll hand over to you, and you can have the floor, Gaia.
Yeah, if you want to share the chart,
yes,
it's up to you. And before I start, I just want to express my gratitude to all the people who have had readings with me and who have sent feedbacks. I'm really, really happy that you did so, and I'm really happy that I was able to help, because that's the main purpose of astrology. So if I am able to help, means that I have done my job well, and you know, it's very meaningful, very, very meaningful. With that being said, today we have this this very delicate topic.
mm-hmm.
And I'll start immediately. So our significators today are the ruler of the first house, the moon, the ruler of the sixth house, and maybe the 10th house. So the sixth house, as you may understand, it's the sickness itself. The first house, the moon, and the ruler of the first house are us, as in the people, and the 10th house is the treatment. So the first thing that we're going to look at is how strong we are, how strong sickness is, and which is the relationship between us and the sickness. So the moon, because the moon is very interesting. So the moon is in Gemini, and although it's in the 7th house, it's actually ruled by Mercury, which is the ruler of the 6th house as well. So look at how this chart is interesting. So the sickness is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is associated with breathing, lungs. It's associated with those kind of sicknesses which involves the respiratory system. The moon, again, is the people. And look at that. The moon is end of sign. So it's going to get better. But for the first 2 months of the year, basically, let's say till March, we are, as in the moon, we are ruled by the 6th house. So we are ruled by the sickness. So our lives, our existence, we are in the hand, in a way, of the sickness. The sickness is dictating our life. The sickness is influencing very heavily what we do and how we do things. It has kind of the upper hand because we are ruled by the sickness. So for those who are very into grammar, we are using the passive form of the verb. So we are passive and the sickness is active, because the sickness rules us and we are ruled by the sickness. Okay. This is my grammar quick lesson, but it's a way to explain who has the upper hand at this moment, who's stronger. Stronger in the sense because, again, the sickness has a hold on us, and it's not the other way around. So like after these 2 months, let's say from March, slowly, we'll see improvement because the moon enters Cancer, where the moon is in rulership. So we become ruled by ourselves. So we start gaining more control. We start feeling more empowered. There is more awareness. There is a stronger ability to fight, to defend ourselves.
This is after March, you said?
Yes.
Yes, and
can
I ask what is showing that in the chart?
Because the moon is at 28 of Gemini, and the moon.
So 2 months till it's out of sign.
Yes. And in Cancer, the moon is in rulership.
Yes.
And so it's much stronger.
Yes.
The sickness stops having a hold on us. Finally, because now we are ruled by the sickness. So it's a little bit of a more complex situation. So that's what I see for the moon at the moment. Let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter, when I cast the chart, Jupiter was in Aquarius. Again, end of sign. So we have a Jupiter in the second house. Let me verify. Yes, the second house. Yes, it is. Yeah, second house. So it's actually talking about a longer amount of time. It's minimum 2 months. Honestly, it could go even for 2 years, but I don't want to make predictions after the deadline of 1 year, because we are not in the middle age where things were slow. Now we are in the 2022, guys. Already 2022.
The earth is
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we are in a fast-paced society and environment. So honestly, I don't go, even when I do horary charts for clients and people, and I don't go further than 1 year, because honestly, like, it's too fast-paced, and it would be too much to go that far. So 2 months, probably, again, confirming what the moon says, of a complex situation, because Jupiter has no dignity basically in Aquarius.
Yes.
In these degrees of Aquarius. It's in the second house. So it's in a succeedant house. It's not as weak as in a cadent, but it's not that strong either. Yeah. 2 months, and then Jupiter enters Pisces. And what happens? Well, first, Jupiter gets stronger. It gets into rulership. And second, very important, Pisces puts Mercury, which is the ruler of the 6th house, which is the sickness, in detriment and fall. So we are able to fight more and to fight back. We are far stronger, and we are able to fight. We are able to put this down a little bit.
Right. Really good.
Okay. So let's have a look at the sickness, which is ruled by Mercury in Capricorn. Now, Mercury is in this chart in the 1st house, which literally means that the sickness is within us. It's in our body. Mercury has no dignity basically in Capricorn, but it's a 5th planet, because it's a planet with no dignity in an angular house. So it's as if the sickness is stealing from us.
Right. So 6th house lord in the 1st, essentially, which is a difficult
place. Sorry, I actually made a mistake, because Mercury has a little bit of dignity in this. It's about to lose it. It's about to lose it, but still has it.
So it's about to lose it because it's going to move into degrees where it loses its dignity.
Exactly. It's about to lose the term dignity. Exactly. So Mercury has a little bit of strength, which it's going to lose. And once it does, it's actually it's what happened. I think it's what's happening right now, at least here in Italy, that if you look and read the news, you see that this sickness has become some kind of a loose cannon.
Yes.
Because it's like everyone is in quarantine. Everyone is quarantined because they are affected. The test is positive for the sickness. So it's stealing in a way already.
Yes. Stealing our joy for a start.
Yeah, our resources, our energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what's interesting is that Mercury in Capricorn is unfortunately putting the moon up and then down, and the same does for Jupiter. So because it's a night chart, in Capricorn, the moon has dignity by triplicity, but then it's in detriment. And because it's Mercury is in the first 10 degrees of Capricorn, in this chart, Jupiter has dignity by phase, but then it goes into fall. So we have mixed dignity, meaning that we may think that everything is gonna get better and get sorted. We may realize, oh, I'm feeling better. Oh, look, there may be some improvements. But then, it's like, no, I made a mistake. No, that was wrong. There's no improvement at all. We are still with the restrictions. We are still having to get tested and get the vaccine and whatever. And that's actually a mistake that I made, because I made an assumption in the month of December about a specific transit. And I thought things would have been getting better, but then I had to revisit my opinion because things were not getting better at all. And so I can see what I did even from this Mercury with mixed dignity, because you think that's going to get better, but it's not really the case.
Not really the case.
And
You've got to look at the whole chart and the whole effects. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, because Jupiter and the moon are us in the people. And so this is, in the end, this Mercury is putting us down.
Okay. So things are not going to get better as quickly as we might hope. We might have more power to fight back and to take a stand. To take a stand, but it's still going to be with us, and we're still going to have to grapple with some things. Is that the interpretation that you're coming at? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. And consider that this Mercury is way, way, way out of bound.
Yes.
This Mercury is at -25. And it's like 2 degrees out of bound. And again, when a planet is out of bound, it's like this loose cannon. He goes whatever he wants. He does whatever it wants. No boundaries, out of bounds. So it's like, I don't know, imagine an animal who's at the zoo, and suddenly
there's no cage.
There's no cage anymore.
Yes.
There are movies for children where those animals from the zoo they escape, right? And
That's right.
You imagine the mayhem that they provoke. That's the same here.
We've had so many out of bounds planets over the last few months too. It's been crazy. So
yes, Venus was out of bound. It has been for a while, and now we have and when I cast the chart, Mercury was out of bound. So again, when a planet is out of bound, guys, it's like this crazy force, this crazy energy. It's untamed, and it's very hard to tame them.
Yep.
Almost impossible.
Yes.
Even if it's Capricorn, doesn't matter. Björk, the famous singer, she has a Venus in Capricorn, and she doesn't look like Venus in Capricorn at all.
Yes.
Anyway.
Not at all. Not at all. Her style is very out of bounds, isn't it?
Yes. So this is important to realize that it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to control this sickness. And in this chart, as like the moon is very slow, and it's important because it's telling us that even if the moon is in Gemini and then it's going to enter Cancer, so Gemini is a sign which wants to go fast. Cancer is a sign which is cardinal signs. They want to move, but the moon is slow. It's like 11 degrees, and it's outer bound as well in this chart. So things go slower than we expect, and having the moon out of bound, the moon is ruling us, so the people are unpredictable. Anything and everything can happen.
Good. I'm glad we people are unpredictable, because I don't want the powers that be to think that they can control us all. No. Good. But yes, I know that feeling. This is the feeling that we're all in at the moment. I think you're right, Gaia, where we're wanting change, get us out of the mud. We're stuck, but it's not coming. And how much longer are we going to have to put up with this crap, And it's this feeling of change is coming, but not coming quick enough to satisfy us. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's not quick enough, because look at the moon, like 11 degrees a day for the moon is one of the slowest you can have for the moon. So the speed of the moon is so slow that it's hard. And also the moon has a debility which is being opposed by the sun, because planets opposed by the sun have a debility.
Almost to the degree as well. Must have been right on the full moon that we had the conversation about this. Yeah. So sorry, go on. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Again, there is this opposition by the sun. So if we take the natural signification of the sun is the kind of the kings. So there is this conflict, there is this squaring, not in an astrological sign, but when you square with someone, you basically fight.
Square off, an expression, yes.
Yeah, you square off with someone. So there is this altercation with the kings, with those who are in position
the leadership
of ruling.
Yes. Interesting.
But for the moment, the moon is again, it's not that strong. From March on, it's going to be able to do something a little bit strong, a little bit better. Along with this Jupiter, the moon is actually having a trine with Jupiter, but it's already separating. So basically the moon is out of void of course, because it's not going to make any more applying aspects.
Right. So does that mean in this case in Horary that nothing will come of...
Yes, basically it means this, that nothing will come out, that things are not going to move, things don't move, the action is not taken. So we do have this 2 months of, I don't know, it's like being in the swamp,
Yes.
You are with the car in the swamp, and you're trying to get this car out of the swamp, but it's all stuck in.
Good analogy. Yes, that's what it's like.
Yeah, we actually have the sun on the ascendant. We have the sun, the ascendant.
Does that mean that the leadership are really interfering in the lives of the Aquarians in this case?
Yes, but also it could indicate that the sun is kind of, that you can indicate that we are kind of exhausted, because if you check the first houses in the body, the sun is burning. So it's not, the ascendant is not a planet, so theoretically, it cannot be burnt or combusted.
Yes.
But the sun on the ascendant can talk about health. Any planet on the ascendant, when it comes to matters of health, can talk about this. So the sun is important because the sun is the immune system, right?
Yes.
So do with this what you want. But I'm just telling you what the sun can represent. And it's also it could be associated to vitamin D as well, because this kind of vitamin comes from exposure to the sun, in addition to some particular foods as well.
Yes, good point. I've always found in natal chart astrology that people with the sun in the first house often need glasses in the early part of life, because the sun is to illuminate and to see, and it's just overpowering, so it affects the vision in the early part of life, sometimes even later on into life as well. So maybe there is an issue with things not being, like, not seeing clearly. Perhaps you could, this is not horary astrology, but if I was to apply natal chart astrology to this chart interpretation, I would say there's perhaps a difficulty in seeing clearly what's going on.
The sun is so luminous that its light can blind you.
That's right.
So definitely.
That's right. Yes. And in the progressed chart analysis, we do see the sun as sort of like burning wherever it transits. Like if you have a transit of the progressed sun across the descendant, it often correlates to a period of dryness in relationships, because it just sucks the life out, or the moisture out of the relationship, so to speak. So there is this energy of burning that can happen in the progressed chart analysis too. So very, very interesting. Sorry, I'm just interrupting with my thoughts as you go along, Gaias, but please continue.
I love it. And I do believe that it could indicate, not having enough moisture in our bodies, enough liquids or something like that. Even though it's we have a Sagittarius ascendant, and Sagittarius is hot and dry because it's a fire sign, and the sun is a hot and dry planet. But there is actually too much hotness and too much dryness.
Yes.
So you see, there's no balance. Hot and dry plus hot and dry. It's no balance.
Drink plenty of filtered water, everybody.
Yeah, do whatever you have to do, but keep in mind that there is this imbalance among the elements. Because we are already kind of hot and dry, and what we receive is even more hotness, even more heat, and even more dryness.
Yes. So it sounds like that to me feels very exhausting, and non-fruiting. Like we're not seeing any flourishing, we're not seeing any growth. We're just seeing, the effects of hot and dry are exhaustion, depletion, wearing out, that kind of thing. So we need to do what we can, I would say, to maintain our fluidity, so to speak, and to keep nourishing ourselves, because nourishment's going to be kind of hard to come by. Nourishment of the soul and of the spirit, I would say.
Yes, and keep in mind that this Mercury in Capricorn is actually intercepted. Mercury is in the first house, yes, but the cusp of the second house is not in Capricorn, but in Aquarius. And therefore, the virus, the sickness is stuck. So,
because Aquarius is a fixed sign, is that what you're saying?
No, because Mercury is intercepted in the first house.
Okay, yeah.
There's no cusp in Capricorn.
Yes.
Therefore, Mercury is enclosed in the sign. And because it's there, it's like it's in the first and it is intercepted. So it's really stuck. stuck in the body, stuck in us. It's very difficult to push it out, to push it away.
So this stuckness will be the case for, like, do you see a duration there with Mercury?
Well, till Mercury has to get out of Capricorn, right. Because once it enters Aquarius, it stops being stuck. So it's like 22. No, I wouldn't go with months, because it's a angular house cardinal planet. Maybe because it's intercepted, we can give it a little bit slow, so maybe weeks.
Okay, 22 weeks. Okay, that's much more doable than 22 months.
No, months, that would be too far. I mean, right. Not too far, sorry, too slow for cardinal and angular together, because those are the fastest combination possible in Horary. Excellent, excellent. So I wouldn't go with days, because this Mercury is combusted. Not combusted, sorry, intercepted. And interceptions indicate being stuck. Does Mercury retrograde go back into Capricorn? Do you recall if Mercury retrograde in Aquarius goes back? It does. Yeah. It does. So I would say that Mercury, it's gonna be even a little bit more than, like, I think, because I'm making calculations here. Yes. I would say that you can also look at the mundane transits. So when Mercury is definitely out of Capricorn, so once it finishes the retrograde motions, which is in February, I think. Yep. By the time it gets out of Capricorn, it will be February. Yes. Yes, it is. So, if we take the mundane aspect, it's gonna be, again, I would stick with March as a timeline, as the deadline. Okay. Because we are out of things. If I have to take it symbolically, it's much more. My conclusion would be that things starting to get better, but we are not completely rid of the thing. Okay, so we see improvements, but we are not going to be eradicating the sickness completely. We have to work this whole year to eradicate that. Okay. Because there is too much difference between the mundane and the symbolic timing, the mundane and symbolic calculation. And where there is so much difference, my conclusion is that they are both valid, because you can use both. So the assumption is that they are both valid, but if they are both valid, it means that we have two steps. The first step is the mundane, because it's faster. And so it indicates we see an improvement, but then we have the second step, the second stage, which is the symbolic. And that will mean that the symbolic indicates that there is a second stage that we have to move toward. And so this is not going to get out of us by the first stage. It's going to be, we need the second stage. Okay. So we can sort of assume that March is going to be the first stage of change, and then there will be a second progression from that later down the line in the second part of 2022. Sure. Excellent. Okay. Well, I mean, that's some long range hope, and I think people are, I'm grateful for any kind of hope that I can get at the moment. The last thing that I want to mention is the 10th house, which is ruled by Libra. And the 10th house is the treatment. So take it as you want for the treatment. It could indicate any kind of treatment. So does Venus, that's the question we have to answer. Does Venus, as in the treatment, defeat the sickness? That's the question.
Good question. Yes.
First, Venus is stationary, about to go retrograde.
Right.
So if some progress is made, you know that with the retrograde, it indicates you have to review, you have to revisit, you go back, you retrace your steps, you see that actually this thing that you thought was working, it's not working at all.
Interesting.
The retrograde means that things go more slowly, but again, it means that if you thought that things were working out, the retrograde shows you that no, this actually was a joke or whatever. This actually wasn't reliable.
Okay. But it's not quite retro, well, it's stationary. So is that a different interpretation than retrograde or same?
No, that's kind of the same because it's about to go retrograde.
Okay. Okay.
So the stationary would indicate that nothing happens. And so it can indicate the moment when in regards to the treatment, they are stuck or they stand still. There's nothing in the news. There's nothing new. Nothing's come out or come about.
Yeah.
And then you see, oh my God, you see articles or whatever that say, oh, sorry, this doesn't work. They come and tell you, oh, sorry, you have taken this pill or whatever. You have undergone this treatment, but you have to get tested anyway because it's not reliable. Whatever.
Yep.
So that's what the retrograde could indicate. And to answer my question that I asked myself, well, first, to answer my question, does Venus help us and does Venus defeat the sickness? Well, first of all, what I see is that Venus does nothing to the sickness at all.
Okay.
Because in Venus line...
Go ahead, sorry.
In the Venus line, there's no Mercury whatsoever. So Venus is ruled by Saturn and Mars in exaltation, Moon in triplicity, Saturn in term, Sun in phase, Moon in detriment, Jupiter in full. No Mercury here. Meaning that the treatment does nothing to the disease because Mercury is not affected.
Yep.
None whatsoever.
Hello, no surprises, I think.
Also, Venus puts Jupiter down, which is our bodies, it's our health. Could indicate that the treatment puts us down.
I think it definitely indicates that, yes. So
it puts the Moon in triplicity and then in full. Then in detriment. So the Moon is more of our psychological state rather than our physical state.
Yes.
So we may, in the beginning, feel optimistic and relieved that there is a treatment, but then in the end, we realize that it's actually not matching our expectations or it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Wow.
Consider.
Astrology is so unbelievably accurate every time, isn't it? I mean, this is exactly what is going on. And here it is, right in the chart.
And consider that this Venus is about to meet once more with our dear friend and beloved Lord of the Underworld, the rich one, Uncle Pluto.
I like that description.
Therefore, you know that when Pluto is in the mix, it indicates upheavals and those the one is, but yeah, it transformation and upheavals. But Pluto is also, well, guys, it's Lord of the Underworld, so nasty things, toxins of things,
hidden agendas, control, manipulation.
Yes.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. So I think that, you know, this is all that I had to say. The only last thing that I want to mention is that we do have an aspect between the moon, which is us, and Mercury, which is the sickness. It's applying, it's out of sign, but in Horary we do consider out of sign aspects, especially if they are applying. So look at that. The moon is a 28 Gemini and the Mercury is at 8 Capricorn. So the orb for an aspect between moon and the Mercury is, let me double check, 10 degrees. So we are actually in orb and it's applying, so it's gonna get together. Those two are going to get together and make the opposition. Consider that Mercury puts the moon first in triplicity and then in detriment, so it's mixed dignity. So it's not going to be an easy aspect. And before it breaks completely, the time unit is 20 units. So again, I would say, because the moon is very slow and because it's mixed, so the moon starts in a mutable sign, then it goes to
Cardinal sign.
A cardinal sign, and it's stuck when the moon enters Cancer. It's intercepted because the interceptions go in pairs. So if Capricorn is intercepted, Cancer is intercepted as well. So I would say that before it breaks, before the aspect between us and the sickness breaks, it's 20 units. It's 20 degrees, 20, I would say, weeks here. Okay. So we do have this amount of time to consider. 20 weeks, it's like how many months? 5? Oof. Yeah, 5. Sorry guys, I'm not really reliable when it comes to making those calculations on the spot, but it should be.
I think you've done brilliantly. Yes, you've done well.
So that, again, the first part to make a little bit of resume a little bit this thing, to sum up, the first 6 months are going to be still tough, because even though we feel more empowered, even though we have the power to fight back, the sickness is gonna be with us still, and we don't have a treatment that seems to do the trick.
Yes.
And we aren't able to push the sickness out of the system, even though we are able to fight back. So we do fight back, yes, but at the same time, changes don't happen as fast as we wish they would. So we don't have the power immediately.
Yeah. Right. We've just got to keep persevering and enduring.
That's my...
Where's Saturn? What's Saturn doing? Okay, perseverance and endurance down there in the second house. Okay, we've got to keep valuing ourselves and keep giving ourselves self-love in the second house and persevere with that somehow or other.
Yes.
I'll stop the share now and come back. Gaia, that was magnificent as always. Your analysis is always so rich, and I always learn more about astrology when I have time spent with you. You know, that you have this beautiful perspective that is not in the vein that I've been taught astrology, but it's a different understanding that just broadens my mind so much, and I really value that and appreciate that in your work. And even though this is a heavy duty topic, I think that you've covered it very succinctly and answered the questions that most people will be having, like how much longer, is there a cure, is the cure working, and all these sort of facets of the COVID issue. You've addressed very well here. So thank you for that.
Thanks to you for the opportunity to work with you, to talk with you, and with all of you guys, the Guiding Star family.
And I just want to reiterate, if you have a question for Gaia to explore in February or March or April, in the months coming ahead, then leave your questions in the comments section below, because we're always looking for new questions to explore and discuss in these videos each month for you, and pertinent topics that might be relevant in your country, or with, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be heavy duty things like COVID and things like that. Can be, you know, what's going on with such and such a celebrity, if you want to get into some fun stuff like that. Let's
we're gonna have fun with that.
So leave your comments below, because Gaia and I would love to dive in and explore those things. So thank you one and all for joining us. Don't forget to get your special reading with Gaia for whatever's going on in your life right now, and get her pinpointed answers to what's happening and when things might change for you in certain areas. Head over to the Guiding Star website, to the astrology readings page, to book your session now. And Gaia, thank you once again. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, Kesenya. Thank you, everybody. Stay well and safe, and see you next month. Bye-bye.
Bye.